What's in an identity document? Well, in South Africa, it's everything. Without this document, you don't exist. You can't get your shots as a baby. You can't get any access to any healthcare. You can't finish primary school or high school. You can't get a job. If you lose your job, you can't get your UIF, that is your unemployment insurance fund, which you're forced to pay out of every paycheck. You can't access banking. You cannot vote, a right we only got in 1994 while everybody else was dancing to Tootsie Roll. You cannot get a driver's license. There are many things you can't do, many places you can't go. You're going to see videos in this video, snippets from previous videos that I've done. I am republishing them because I really want to drive this point home. You're going to see a man who was literally the living dead. A criminal stole his identity, committed crime, and then died. And it has impacted his family. He is a father of two. He lost his job during COVID. He can't access his unemployment insurance fund, and he can't do anything. You're going to see a mother and a son in two different families who have been arrested for the crimes of others. A mother that was too afraid to show her face. You're going to see a mother that fell into a depression because she ended up being married to someone that she didn't know. They changed her identity and she couldn't access her UIF either. You're going to see a child who couldn't finish her matric, that is her grade 12 or her senior year or the last year of high school. You are going to see the invisible South Africans in the shadows. They may not be famous. They may not be beauty pageant winners or World Cup winners. They are everyday people, and every South African knows multiple people like this. And we have been going through this for decade after decade after decade. And let me tell you, we're tired. And let me tell you, we're angry. And let me tell you, we're not at the stage feeling pretty about it. But I don't want to make you angry in the beginning. How about you watch this video, follow on. I've shown all this footage at least twice before on my YouTubes. I'm just titling it differently, just organizing it a bit differently. This is Nuance with Nikki, the nitty gritty, even if it's shitty. Do watch out for the couple that actually suspected each other of cheating because they didn't know where all this extra money was going to. Meanwhile, it was a third party that had essentially stripped them of their identity. Nuance with Nikki, let's get into it.
It's estimated that every 2 seconds someone's identity is stolen, and many have no idea how their information ends up in the wrong hands.
This man was reported dead due to identity theft.
I can't cope, it's difficult.
And that has been the case for Sithembiso Ndlovu for the past 7 years.
The places that need to use ID, they're telling me that I'm diseased, they can't help me.
The alleged 2014 death of another Sithembiso Ndlovu set in motion years of misfortune.
It is very difficult.
On this death certificate, the same names and ID numbers.
The other person, they said is from Devon. It's like he's a criminal or something.
Repeated efforts to apply for a new ID have been in vain. Even affidavits did not help.
My accounts are closed. They said I'm deceased. Bank and the police station, they were busy telling me to go by Home Affairs.
From time to time, Ndlovu follows up on this January 2020 letter from Home Affairs that his status is being rectified. Back to square one and his hands tied.
I went to Home Affairs in Pretoria, Home Affairs in Johannesburg, Home Affairs in Edenville, but no one was willing to help me.
Adding to the misery, Ndlovu was retrenched last year amid a raging pandemic.
Now I'm supposed to go and claim my money that they were deducting like UIFs or those stuff. When I'm going there, every time they tell me that I'm diseased, they can't help me.
A double blow for the father of two. There are few, if any, jobs, and his status a further hurdle.
I can't survive. It's difficult. From 2014, I am living a miserable life.
6 months ago, the unemployed mother of one was arrested for crimes ranging from fraud to common assault. After a week in jail, she discovered her identity was cloned. Investigations are currently underway to find the fraudster and restore Lindiwe's identity and credibility. But until the case is finalised, she remains vulnerable.
Raymond Diyasi says identity fraud has ruined his life. Not only has he had difficulty finding a job, he was recently arrested at his Cape Town home and taken to Jeffreys Bay, where he was jailed for 2 nights.
I have a father who's very old, cannot deal with this issue, going to jails that are deadly, filthy, and being arrested with prisoners. Some of them are murderers, some of them are, are robberies. To be in that environment, it's painful. From 2010, with regarding my ID document, how far are you with the story?
He says he's been left in limbo, waiting nearly 4 years for a new ID that he says has been issued 6 times. But not to him. Raymond Diyasi is the victim of identity theft. His ID was fraudulently issued 6 times since 2011, and now there's a series of fraud and drug-related charges against his name.
Despite efforts to curb them, ID scams are rife. They've ruined many people's lives. One of them was 39-year-old Zama Mthethwa, a Johannesburg mother. It took her over a year to sort out the mess. In 2011, she was pickpocketed in downtown Johannesburg.
Mangifika endlini nami ngiyayikhuthuza ngiyayisesha naye ngiyamsesha ngani ayikho ID.
To her horror, when she went to apply for a new ID sometime later, she discovered that on the Home Affairs computer system, she was married. Her surname was now Diallo.
Taylor yakhona yangitshela ukuthi mina ngishadile ngo-2009 akho ID engizoyithola angihambe ngiyodivorce ngascreama mina ngakhala ngoba ngangingazi ukuthi ngishadile.
Confused, she applied for her ID at another Home Affairs, this time in Orlando, hoping that there'd been a mistake. When she got her new ID, it still showed that she was married. The problem had not gone away. They even showed her a copy of the marriage certificate. Her so-called husband was a foreigner.
Bathi bona uvela lapha nesignature yami.
Home Affairs even accused her of marrying for money, a common practice apparently, to enable foreigners to get South African citizenship. When she tried to sort out the mess, she was given the runaround. And once, when she went to collect UIF, she was told the name on her ID did not correspond to their records, and so she went home empty-handed.
Kwathiwa ngilethe original ID engaregister ngayo kuzo zonke indawo.
Zama went into a depression, lost weight, started getting migraines.
Ngathi ngahlala ngilele mangilambile ngiphuza amanzi. Angisanalo nothando lomsebenzi. Ngifisa ukufa.
To their credit, real people took immediate action, sent us this email. They acknowledged that Hamilton was the victim of identity fraud, that someone had even forged his signature, and so they refunded his installment and closed the account. Despite this, Hamilton and his family are still feeling the dreadful consequences. His credit record is tarnished.
Next year, university. Sizama ukusechora ama-loans yabona and asikhoni.
The family almost fell apart. The family almost fell apart.
I honestly mazile mfethu. Ngoba bengasekho right yabo. It's like mhlawumbe mina ngizibhayile lezi zinto for umuntu esayidini or what into besinoqabana ngazo yabo nami bengathembi yabo ngoba mangihleli ngisho ngithi mhlawumbe lo mama uthathile ama documents abo hamba ethenga izinto like bekuyinto enjalo until we went to these shops. Luckily we shop once sakhona ukuthola copy ID le eyasetshenziswa apparently eyamne mara nesithombe somunye umuntu.
The family almost fell apart.
The parents were saying, however, someone is already using her identity. Iman, she joins me here now. She's just a 17-year-old who's hopeful, of course, that you pass your matric.
Yes, I'm very hopeful.
Tell me about how this has affected you.
Well, this has affected me because I feel quite demotivated, you know. Everyone wants to matriculate and move to the next stage. But I feel like with this situation, it's kind of hard to move forward because you never know if you matriculate or that other person's identity will hinder you from success.
I have a father who's very old, cannot deal with this issue, you know.
2019, mother of two Deliwe Nhlapo got the shock of her life when she visited a Home Affairs branch in Bronkhorstspruit, east of Pretoria. She asked where the additional two had come from and was shown this birth certificate belonging to Ife Adeleye Musa, born on the 25th of January 2015. Nhlapo is registered as the mother, while the captured details of the father are of one Emmanuel Musa from Nigeria. They also showed her this birth certificate belonging to Matipa Theo Chiviru, born on the 4th of February 2017. With this child too, Nhlapo is registered as the mother and Theophilus Chiviru from Zimbabwe, the father. Both these birth certificates are legitimate Home Affairs documents, making the children South African. Bewildered, she asked the Home Affairs officials how something like this could happen.
So that maybe ngengalahli ID. Maybe nabantu bathathe ID yami bayenza ama certificate lawo.
Since nabbed for the crime, a former Randfontein Home Affairs officials Charlotte Benz and Kiorapeti Nimbili. Benz was initially arrested for allegedly registering Zimbabwean-born fake doctor Kingsley Chele as a 14-year-old South African child in 2020, using the details of a South African woman unconnected to Chele. Using his fake South African citizenship, Chele is alleged to have swindled at least 14 unsuspecting women of 1.3 million rand.
We'll approach them through the Facebook, telling them that he's an orthopedic doctor. Then convince them to deposit money into his accounts, and after depositing those monies, then he will disappear.
They are all due back in court in January next year.
It's estimated that every 2 seconds someone's identity is stolen, and many have no idea how their information ends up in the wrong hands. Sophisticated. This week's special assignment exposes how ID fraud syndicates operate, leaving you with thousands of rands in debt. Last year, Ishmeal Mpho Nelushi received a text message notifying him that he owed money on his Markham's account, but he had long closed this account.
I got a call on my way to work. I was just approaching something. They said, Ishmael, you actually owe us money and you're not paying your accounts. And I said, no, I don't have any account with you guys. They said, no, our system is showing us that you owe us 12,210 rands. I was like, no way.
However, it didn't end there.
I think the same day, I got a call from a shop by the name of Menlin. This is Menlin, sorry. This is the shop. I was like, no way. Where's the store? They said, there's the name of the store somewhere on one of these documents here. I said, yeah, Gateway Mall, something like that. I said, no, I don't know where that is. They said, no, it's in Durban. I said, no, I'm in Johannesburg. They said, okay, fine, we'll get back to you. And then I tried to show you.
Worried, he decided to check his credit profile and discovered several more accounts that had been fraudulently opened in his name.
I went in there and I realized that I owe Vodacom, and then I owe Telkom, I owe TFG, I owe millions. I was like, no way, I don't know these things. The fraudulent, the pay slips. This is the ID copy he used. This is not me.
Ishmeal was the victim of identity theft, even though he had never lost his ID documents.
Okay, this is the...
South Africa has a small grant for students. Not a lot of money, but because of identity fraud, many students have been defrauded.
Both these guys are 19 years old, able to find security breaches that are far-reaching in the SASSA grant system. I'm going to let you go first, Joel. What is it exactly that you guys were looking into? So what?
This started with me, and I tried to apply in February, and I found that I'd already had an application open.
What was very interesting was our SASSA grants weren't on our phone numbers. They were registered to completely fraudsters' phone numbers, and we didn't know what they were. So to see if this was a widespread problem, we did a on-survey campus where we asked about 60 people, and we managed to test their ID numbers. And what we found out was over 56 of them had active SASSA applications that they had no knowledge of.
Wait, so you spoke to 60 people at your campus, and 56 of them had applications on SASSA's portal that they knew nothing about. I mean, that's something. Then you obviously Then you went further and you said, okay, well then, let's look at who else is on here, people that perhaps aren't near you, and you looked at. You did quite a bit. Okay, let's do this. You found that there were grant applications for those born February 2005. Talk to me about that, because there's something who's particularly interesting about what you found about births in February 2005. Talk to me about that. Joel, you go.
Yes, so in February of 2005, people born in that month, we discovered that there were 74,000 active applications, okay? But when we compared this with Stats SA data, we found that there are only 82,000 people born in that month. So there's a 91% application rate for people born in February 2005. And then this doesn't correlate at all. And I mean,
last year makasikayenza umatric mabasengimele ngimenzele ID complete ileso sikhathi ukuthi angikwazi ukuyenzela ngabuza ukuthi hawu nithe nizolungisa nina ngifune izinto nawo ama-document akhona bangifuna i-document yasesikoleni bangifuna yase primary isko ihigher
birth certificate maybe mawufika kuthiwani
mangifika baye bathi oke walahle ID na ngathi solo ngisebenzisa i-ID A1 bathi khona umuntu ovelayo beside wena ngathi how come khona umuntu ovelayo ngoba mina ngakalahle ID solo
pretending to be doctors, swindling women out of money, kids who can't finish their schooling, university students who can't access their grants, unemployed people who cannot access their UIF, that is the Unemployment Insurance Fund. People who've been arrested for crimes they never committed. People who've been registered as dead. South Africa has been drowning in years and years and decades of identity fraud and illegal immigration. And so maybe we snapped. Maybe our tone wasn't what you wanted it to be. But this is what's going on for us.
You don't understand, this is deeper than you think. And this is why I'm saying you guys are manipulative. Because the minute we call you all out, it's xenophobia. It's not. A bit of accountability from your side is needed. Africans, no, focus on your political and economic issues. You're contributing to it. You're not helping in any way. And that's why I say some immigrants come to South Africa not to empower South Africans, but then they use the black card to try and invalidate what people are saying. When people are saying, guys, please come here legally, have your documents, come contribute to the economy, it's all you xenophobic. It's not xenophobia. It's simply asking you to contribute. You can't come to what is so difficult to understand. South Africans don't have a problem with documented people from outside at all. They're working good jobs, they're paying their tax, they're doing everything. So what is the problem? Because all South Africans are documented.
So this is Uncle P. He is an immigrant to South Africa, but he spends his time on his YouTube channel, Uncle P's podcast, doing nothing but standing up for us, Let's hear what he has to say.
I personally, I've got a good life. I'm very blessed. I work hard, I hustle hard. And I do it because I love my kids, eh? But the reality is, I can't just focus on my life alone. What Chidima's family did is not an individual incident. It's something that is happening a lot. 700,000 IDs have been frozen. And that is just the duplicate ones, and they're not even talking about the fraudulent ones that was achieved fraudulent. 700,000 South Africans right now are affected by frozen IDs. A lot of the South Africans can't eat the way I'm eating. Not because they're lazy. It's because somebody stole their identity, so they can't work the way I'm working. They can't open businesses the way I'm opening. They can't have opportunities the way I have them, because I didn't have to spend time going to Home Affairs back and forth trying to fix my identity.
And that child was 3 months at the time. So then there was no way that there would be. Now she registered the first child, and now she come to register another one within the time frame. The child that was registered was Miss Chidima Vanessa Onwe Adechina. She then spent months before she could be given a new identity number. She was eventually.
How are you a South African?
I was born in South Africa.
Okay.
Yes.
Or to Nigerian parents?
Yes.
If Adechina's grandmother was Zulu, as has been claimed, that would have automatically made Adechina's mother, born in South Africa, South African by birth. There would therefore have been no need to commit fraud by stealing another South African woman's identity.
How did Adechina's mother leave the country when the police are looking for her? How was she allowed to fly out to Nigeria? Because when Adechina won as Miss Universe Nigeria, her mother was standing right next to her soon afterwards. How did Adechina's mother leave the country when the police are looking for her? How was she allowed to fly out to Nigeria?
A valid document will confirm if he's telling the truth or not.
Okay, we've now found a South African passport with the gentleman that we have arrested's photograph in it and the name Patrick Agbo, but I believe that passport's not genuine. He's told us he's from Nigeria and his photograph is now in a South African passport, and now we have evidence that the gentleman we have arrested has been using the name Patrick Agbo. May not.
Is this your passport?
It's not my passport.
It has your picture in it.
It's not me.
That is your picture.
It's not my picture. It's not my. That is not my passport. I'm not the one inside. I'm not the one outside.
Can I just maybe point out that you do have a marking on your face, which is also present in this picture?
It's not me. It's not me. It's not me.
Right, you're making it worse for yourself, but we'll carry this on at the police station, okay? You're making it a lot worse. By sitting lying to me, you're making it worse, all right?
I'm not lying to you.
You are lying to me, okay?
Why I lie? I'm not lying to you.
So we literally have a show about the kinds of South Africans that have fake marriages, which, by the way, undermines the processes for those of us who do love foreigners and marry them honestly. It makes a lot of things a lot more difficult than you know.
So she says you met in 2012. Yes. She didn't know you. Yeah. This was just a deal marriage. Yes. She was supposed to help you to get papers. Yes. So why are you lying to me saying you met her 2010?
I don't lie to you. Time I met her, and it's not that time I married her.
No, she says she met you the day of marriage.
Our relation, it was starting in 2010.
You can go see this. It's called Faith Marriages, and it's got plenty of episodes. Yeah. What can I say? You're still here? Well, this has been Nuance with Nikki, the nitty-gritty, even if it's shitty. So maybe you didn't like how South Africans treated her or whatever, but we've been living with this since the dawn of our democracy. I'm not excusing behavior. I'm just saying, if you still want to tone police us, if you still don't want to see what's on the undercurrent, if you still don't get that alarm bells were raised because it is consistently from a handful of countries. And if you're still not trying to hear us in nuanced ways, if you still think we should sit around waiting for people who get arrested for crimes they didn't commit, people who are registered as dead, kids who can't finish their school, our passports being messed up around the world, we can't get driver's license sometimes. For those of us who really do love foreigners and marry them, how incredibly heavy and difficult the process is, while we are fighting with our left hand our own government and trying to hold them accountable. We're fighting the illegal immigrants. Now we're fighting you because what you want to do is do the easy thing. You want to do what's easy, and that's just to label us as racist. How many of you are willing to do what's right and actually see more underneath? Because I told you to stay out of our business. I told you we'd let you know if we need your help. Right now, I mean, we'll do it with or without you, but we could use your help to spread the word about illegal activity, about illegal immigration. We've been a country that has welcomed people for decades, for generations. A place where people found hope for a long time. But we've now been fetishized by one part of the world as the USA of Africa. We're supposed to be this fairy tale place while our ship is literally sinking in the one place. To the west, we're just this afterthought country, a chapter in a textbook that's supposed to just be a fairy godmother and wave a magic wand, and color is supposed to be the only thing. When you saw those journalists, they were of all colors, trying to solve the problems, often risking their lives, guys. I know journalists risking their lives to deal with the illegal immigration here. I've only scratched the surface, you know? So once again, I'll leave you with the song Stimula so you can know how many decades people have been coming to this country to find hope, but how we're saying, guys, we're not coping. We're not coping. We need contributors, not consumers. We need benefactors, not beneficiaries. We need people who are going to help us, not just to keep the ship from sinking, but to build it right back up again. Thank you for joining Nuance with Nikki, the nitty gritty, even if it's shitty.
There's a train that comes from Namibia and Malawi. There's a train that comes from Zambia and Zimbabwe. There's a train that comes from Angola and Mozambique. From Lesotho, from Botswana, from Swaziland. From all the hinterlands of southern and central Africa. This train carries young and old African men who are conscripted to come and work on contract in the gold and mineral mines of Johannesburg and its surrounding.
Shosholoza kulezo ntaba stimela siphume South Africa. Hurry up, train, over those mountains, you train that comes from South Africa. The song was originally sung by Zimbabwean migrant workers who would come in and out of South Africa for decades by train. It has now become an unofficial anthem of our country. We don't hate foreigners. We just hate lawlessness. Please protect our nation. We give everything we can.